Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, there's been finally some major updates in the Dylan Rounds case. So it actually just dropped on Friday, the 3rd of March. So I'm going to go over that here. It's been quite some time since I've done a video update on this case, so I'm glad to hear some updates, even though it looks like it's not going in the exact direction that we all would have hoped as far as Dylan Rounds is concerned. So this particular article is from KSL.com, and it states, suspect in Dylan Rounds' disappearance charged with murder. Brigham City, the suspect in the disappearance of Dylan Rounds, who vanished near the Utah-Nevada border last year and whose body still has not been found, has now been charged with murder. James Brenner, 59, was charged Friday in Utah's 1st District Court with aggravated murder, a first-degree felony, and abuse or desecration of a dead body, a third-degree felony. Rounds, 19, was reported missing last May while he was farming in the desert town of Lucian in Box Elder County. His grandmother spoke with him on May 28th, making the last time anyone heard from him, according to family. Several months later, still there had been no sign of Rounds anywhere and no activity on his cell phone or bank account, his parents said. On Friday, in a statement, his parents thanked the community for the support you have shown us as we focus on finding answers in the disappearance of Dylan. The charges are based on solid evidence that has been addressed by Box Elder. We ask that you continue your thoughts and prayers for justice for Dylan and that we can bring him home, the family said. While searching for Rounds on his property after he was reported missing, deputies discovered a pair of boots that belonged to Rounds, one of which had a bloodstain confirmed through DNA analysis to belong to the missing man. The victim's phone records were also obtained, which showed movements on the day of the disappearance on a remote property in Lucian where Brenner was squatting. Phone data showed the last signal from the victim's phone was at the Lucian Pond, and a search of the pond led to the discovery of the victim's phone, the charges state. Investigators performed a digital forensic download of the phone and discovered a time-lapse video with a timestamp at the time of Rounds' disappearance, police said. The video showed Brenner with bloodstains on his arms and shirt as he is cleaning a gun, according to the charges. The shirt Brenner was wearing in the video was analyzed, and investigators say they found Rounds' DNA on it. Brenner was interviewed and made several claims that corroborated forensic evidence in addition to making numerous demonstratively false statements. Despite a thorough investigation and extensive search, the victim's body was not recovered due to Brenner removing it and concealing it, court documents state. Brenner has been described as a squatter who was living near Rounds when he disappeared. Brenner, who is considered a family friend of Rounds, was interviewed by law enforcement on June 7th. On June 11th, the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the FBI and Davis County Sheriff's Office. 5 days later, law enforcers served a search warrant on Brenner's trailer. Brenner was later charged in the U.S. District Court of Utah with being a felon in possession of a firearm. He was also charged in 1st District Court on June 23rd with 3 counts of being a restricted person in possession of a firearm, which is a third-degree felony. During the search of his trailer, ball ammunition, ignition caps, black powder, and speed loads, all related to muzzle loading, were located and photographed in the trailer, but the items were not seized at this time, according to those charges. On June 20th, another neighbor was interviewed and told investigators that after Rounds went missing and before Brenner was questioned on June 7th, Brenner bought 3 black powder guns over to the neighbor's residence and asked him to safe keep them. When the neighbor asked why, Brenner stated that he needed to do this for his own safety, and that the last time he had trouble with the law, they took everything from him, and he did not want the things he had left to be taken again, the charges state. Brenner previously served 2.5 years in federal prison after a 2012 conviction for being a felon in possession of a firearm. Friday marks the first time formal charges have been filed in the Rounds disappearance. So, finally, someone has been really charged. Brenner was always really the main POI, the person of interest in Dylan's disappearance. And despite all the crazy rumors and things that surrounded this case, it's sad that it just seems it was as simple as James Brenner. I don't know if he was jealous of Dylan, or if he just raged out at him for whatever reason. The motive, obviously, we don't know. But obviously that day after Dylan talked to his grandmother, something happened between the time that he was trying to take care of his seeds before they wouldn't get wet. So I'm hoping that we're going to get more details on that. But can you imagine? I mean, I'm glad that they found his phone and they were able to get that time-lapse video. And it seems to me that there's so many cases that have, been solved or gotten a lot more answers to, at the very least, when it relates to technology like a cell phone. You've got GPS, you've got videos. Look at the Murdaugh trial. A big part of the, convicting, I think, Alec Murdaugh was the Snapchat video that Paul took, and you could hear Alex in the background when he claimed he wasn't there in the kennels that night. And then you've got, in the Delphi case, you've got, the video, that Libby took of Bridge Guys. So, and that's just 2 cases. There's so many more. And while technology can be hindering in some ways, I think it really has become a great aid in solving so many cases in this day and age.
A day after formal murder charges were filed in her son's disappearance, Dylan Round's mother is speaking out about the last 9 months. News specialist Lad Egan spoke with her. He joins us live with more on her reaction. Lad?
Yeah, Tamara, Dylan Round's mother said this was a win for her son to see charges being filed. She said that her son was a hard worker with dreams of being a big farmer, only to vanish from a tiny desert town on the Utah-Nevada border last May.
Knowing who our son was, knowing what he would do in our position is what has kept me going forward.
Dylan Round's mother says the last 9 months have been a difficult, frustrating roller coaster.
We knew the first day we got out there when we seen Dylan's boots, what happened. For us, this is a win. We have fought so hard for charges.
Candace Cooley's 19-year-old son has been missing since last May from the small town of Lucin in Box Elder County. On Friday, prosecutors announced aggravated murder charges against 59-year-old James Brenner, who is already in custody on unrelated charges.
This is good news. We don't have a conviction and we don't have Dylan's body, but we won the first battle.
Court documents say DNA, cell phone records, and a recovered video led to the charges. Cooley calls it solid evidence.
If a jury doesn't convict him, I will be absolutely shocked.
She pushes back at descriptions that Brenner was a family friend, saying that was not the case. When asked about a possible motive,
it's not premeditated. There's no motive. There's no nothing. It was a snap moment.
As for what's next, Cooley says she's confident that her family, along with volunteers, will find Dylan's body.
So when the weather breaks and we can get out there, and if some sort of deal hasn't been cut and we're still facing trial, we will spend the whole summer out there finding our son, and we will find him.
So at this point, I really hope that the family can get some more closure, for Dylan. And I feel really bad for the family. especially Candace and all this. This has been a tough road for them. It's a very strange situation to have your son, you know, disappear, seemingly just out of nowhere. And we've discussed it before here on the channel. Dylan wasn't a typical 19-year-old. He was a hard worker. He was a farmer. He worked hard since he was young. That's the kind of person he was, and he was just kind of a bit of a loner, it seems, but hard worker. He went, worked on his farm with his grandfather, and he was trying to get this farm going, in the Utah-Nevada border there. So it's definitely, it's a sad thing that someone like Brenner allegedly decided to take this young man's life. And for what? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume either he didn't like something Dylan said or did, or it was jealousy, or I remember him mentioning that it could be a money situation. I believe Dylan carried a lot of cash on him at one point or another. So I don't know what exactly Brenner's motive was, but I don't know if we'll ever know. A lot of times you don't get that answer, which is unfortunate. I always like to know the answers to all the questions, but as we know, that's not always feasible. So we'll have to see, I guess, if Brenner decides to speak out anymore now that they've got some more concrete evidence against him. I mean, they got this video and they've got a shirt that's got Dylan's DNA on it. So I don't know what else he could say to defend himself, but he could just go all the way through and still claim innocence. Super common, as we all know. But all right, guys, that's about it for this particular update. I'm going to keep an eye on this one since it seems to be, now that we have an arrest and a charge, well, he's already been in jail, but arrest for the murder charges, that I assume he'll be making some more appearances soon in court, and then we'll have some more updates, and we'll see if he's going to plead or what's going to happen. And it'd be great if he told the family where they can find Dylan's remains, because most of all, I think that to me is more important than the motive, although I'm sure the family would like both. But all right, guys, I appreciate you checking out the video. With that said and done, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.